What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. So yesterday we did have that 28-minute Pokemon Presents where we had new looks at Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, and Legends Arceus. And we're going to go over all of that here today, as well as something that surprised me after the presentation had ended. Also, we're going to be talking about Fortnite and Among Us going at it after Fortnite introduced a new update to their game that does look a bit suspicious, and we're also be talking about a new Shining Force game, which we had touched on previously, but now we have screenshots and gameplay, and it's looking pretty good, but of course, there's a catch. Guys, if you enjoyed these videos, make sure that like button helps out a ton, and if you're new here to the Spawn Wave channel, make sure you subscribe down below and ring that notification bell so you can keep up to date with all the uploads here on the channel, and we're going to start today with Ace Combat. Now, a couple years ago, we did have Ace Combat 7 that released, and I really enjoyed that game, but I've been playing Ace Combat for a long time. In fact, yesterday, I was reminded that it's actually been 25 years that Ace Combat, the franchise, has been around because they celebrated it with a video on YouTube, and they also announced that a new Ace Combat game is in development. We can head over here to Gamatsu, where they have it transcribed saying, "We've started work on a new project in the Ace Combat series." This from the Ace Combat series producer saying, "Project Ace's staff will of course continue to be involved in the development of this new project, but as we celebrate 25 years and 3 million copies sold, we've come to understand we have many fans of all tastes. Our small team can't handle it all alone, so we're looking to expand the Ace Combat team in a big way. That's why we want to form a business alliance with Ilka, who will become more deeply involved in the Ace Combat series than ever before and create a new Ace Combat. We hope this opportunity will allow us to add even more staff to the Project Ace's team." Now, Ilka, of course, the developer behind Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, so pretty cool to see that they'll also be working on Ace Combat, and I assume this is going to be a little while before we see this new Ace Combat game come out, but it's great to hear that the series will continue. Like I said, it's a very storied franchise, 25 years. If you didn't already feel old this morning, now you do. But exciting stuff. I guess in a couple of years, we can look forward to seeing a new Ace Combat game on the PS5 and the Series X. So exciting stuff there. Also, we've been talking quite a bit about the new Super Monkey Ball game that will be coming up here in a few months. And that's because they keep announcing guest characters for this game. And it looks like they announced another character. We can head over here on Twitter, or we can see from their Super Monkey Ball account, tweeting out that Kiru is rolling into Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania. Now, Kiru is from Yakuza, and they showed off an entire trailer for it, and I mean, this is just fun, right? And again, it's to be a playable character who's free and unlockable through normal gameplay. They might have to cut that out, because that doesn't sound right nowadays, right? Free and unlockable through gameplay? It's weird. Anyway, they had screenshots, they also had a full trailer for it, and I like that they are pulling characters from these different franchises, even if they're just basically in this ball, just kind of rolling around. You're not necessarily controlling them or anything like it's a platformer or something like that, but it is exciting stuff, and I like that they keep doing this leading up to launch. I hope they save some characters, though, just as fun surprises for when we do finally get the game in our hands and we're playing through it, because Super Monkey Ball, you would always just be unlocking a bunch of stuff, and it'd be fun if there was just some random character from one of their franchises they kept kind of under wraps, so that after you picked it up and you get towards the end of the game, it has kind of that, oh, okay, that's a cool surprise, kind of moment. But either way, it's fun to see all of the guest characters make their way into this new Super Monkey Ball game. Oh, and we do have Gamescom opening night live next week, that being Wednesday, August 25th, and we now have an idea as to how many games that are going to be shown off there from Jeff Keighley. We can head over to VGC, where they say, "We're delighted to produce another Gamescom opening night live, which will present more than 30 games from across the industry this year. The community can look forward to new game reveals, updates on the most anticipated games, and other surprises with guests on stage and much more, all live streamed for fans around the world." Now, it's fun to have these different presentations and events to look forward to. As they say, new games will be revealed. I'm just not expecting like an E3 type presentation where there's like big reveals or anything like that. I feel like if you go into this with lowered expectations, it'll be much better for you. But again, it is fun to have something to look forward to here, and maybe this is where we find out more about Halo Infinite, whether it's new multiplayer modes, maybe a look at the campaign, or a release date. Either way, though, looking forward to this next week. Make sure you check it out on Wednesday. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with this Pokemon Presents that we had yesterday. It lasted about 28 minutes, and they really went over 4 key games here during this presentation, and we're just going to quickly go through the first 2, starting with Pokemon Unite. They had some updates around that game. Then they also went into Pokemon Cafe Mix, which appears to be rebranded as Pokemon Cafe Remix, so good to hear it's not confusing or anything for that. But after those two games, the big ones that people really tuned in for, certainly more so were the games coming up here in the next couple of months, starting with Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. And I feel like most people are already sold on these games because they are remakes of older Pokemon games, of course, from the DS, that being Diamond and Pearl. And I'm looking forward to these as well because I did like Diamond and Pearl on the original DS back in the day. So while I know the visual style isn't for everyone, it does look, of course, better than what we had back in like 2007. And they also introduced a new system that's going to be coming out. It is of course, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl themed system that's coming out November 5th, being a Switch Lite. And it's certainly a callback almost exactly to what we had with a DS Lite that released with kind of the same etchings on it. So, I mean, I think it's a good-looking Switch Lite. It's just not really, I guess, creative from them, as they basically just took the etching and image from what we've had before and just slapped it on there. Either way, though, it's fun for people who like to collect the different systems and maybe are really into Pokemon. I did notice, though, that Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl did look a lot better. I saw people pointing this out, and I looked over the footage a few times, and yeah, I don't know if it's the lighting, the texture work, something. It does look better, though, in this presentation. It was also noticed during the Switch OLED reveal where they were playing it, and people were pointing out that the footage looked better there as well. So good to see it did have some improvements as we head towards its release in November. But then we went to Pokemon Legends Arceus, and this was the big reveal for a lot of people because we had seen some limited gameplay for it before, and it didn't look the greatest at that time. Mostly it was pointed out for things like the animations and the frame rate. It looked much better here. Like, it certainly improved everything across the board when it came to visuals, frame rate, animations, the whole thing. So I was really happy to see that. Now, I will comment that the visuals themselves, probably the weakest part about Pokemon Arceus, but I don't really expect Game Freak to show up with cutting-edge visuals or any of that. No, it was more the concept and the idea with Pokemon Arceus that drew my attention. And also, it's good to know that it is pronounced Pokemon Arceus, by the way, because I saw this going back and forth in the comment sections previously this week. Is it Arceus? Is it Arceus? No, it appears to be Arceus. But naming aside, we did get a look at the region itself, that being the Hisui region, and there are even certain Pokemon for that region, like the Hisuian Growlithe, that I noticed had a lot of attention on Twitter, so pretty cool to see that they will have different Pokemon that are specific to the region, and the idea is, quite frankly, just go out and we're trying to build the first Pokedex, and they showed you crafting. They showed kind of like a hub world town that I guess you'll be getting quests from when you're going out to try to research these different Pokemon. And the entire thing is basically a prequel to all current Pokemon games, which is, again, a cool idea. And I really do like to see Game Freak taking a chance here. And that's probably the part that has me the most excited. It's not another typical Pokemon game. See, a long time ago, like years ago, I think it was when Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon came out, I remember I had talked about how I would like to see Game Freak try something completely different with the Pokemon brand, and open world came up a lot, and people didn't necessarily like the idea of changing up the battle system or any of these things I was suggesting, but now here we are years later with Pokemon Legends Arceus, and the part that's the most surprising to me, after all of this, when the presentation ended, I looked around and people seemed pretty sold on Pokemon Legends Arceus, so much so that there weren't that many people that were angry afterwards. See, whenever these presentations happen for Pokemon, I noticed there's always a lot of fighting and anger online over these different games, whether someone spotted a tree from the Nintendo 64 or something, or animations that didn't look great. A lot of people seem pretty excited about Pokemon Arceus, and I feel like most are looking around saying, okay, Game Freak's trying something different with Pokemon. And it's not even like just some random part of Game Freak going off trying this. This is, again, their A-team, quote unquote, that is trying to do this. And for the most part, I like the direction they're going here. I mean, they even had the trainer getting hit by a Pokemon. Like, you're actually in danger out there in the wild with these different Pokemon. They tried to show off, I guess, a vast landscape by having you fly around, and you're also kind of riding around in the water on different Pokemon. And it appears that the idea, you're going around and trying to research almost like boss type Pokemon that have like the red eyes, and That's going to be the part that I'm most curious about, is how this all works out with a story and the gameplay loop itself. Will it get repetitive just getting a quest where you're like, okay, go find this Gyarados, or go find this Charizard, and then you just find it in a different part of the world, you research or you capture it, and then you come back, do you go out and do that again? Or is there like a whole faction that is trying to basically one-up you the whole time while you're doing that? So I think there's still more to this game that we don't know about yet, and that could be shown off maybe in a treehouse down the road, or just more presentations as we get closer to its January 28th release. But either way, I like what they've set up here with Pokemon Legends Arceus. I'm excited, and it's going to be fun to also kind of revisit Sinnoh with Diamond and Pearl coming out in November. And they also announced Pokemon Home Support, kind of tying all three of these titles together. So exciting stuff as we head into the holiday and the big first release for the Switch in 2022, and that being Pokemon Legends Arceus. Next up, let's talk about an update that was introduced earlier this week for Fortnite. And you can see some of the trailer here, and this is titled Trust Nobody, introducing Fortnite imposters. And you start to kind of look through this trailer and some of the gameplay that they're showing, and you realize, this reminds me of Among Us. In fact, that is the comparison that's being drawn here by a lot of people online, and it looks like Epic took quite a bit of inspiration from Among Us, so much so that they appear to be using similar concepts in the fact that you have tasks that you have to complete, and they also seem to use similar map layouts along with, the titles like cafeteria, for example, for some of the different rooms. And it looks like people behind Among Us weren't quiet about it at all on Twitter. For example, you see Gary, who points out both maps side by side, just making sure you kind of see that and emphasize some of the inspiration that was taken here by Epic. You also have Puff saying, we didn't patent the Among Us mechanics. I don't think that leads to a healthy game industry. Is it really that hard to put 10% more effort into putting your own spin on it, though? And that's the biggest thing here. Like, I feel like some people are looking at this and saying, well, I mean, Among Us, it's not their concept. The whole idea of trying to figure out who the imposter is by talking back and forth at an emergency meeting, for example, which I believe is the same terminology as being used in this Fortnite update. Like I said, a lot of inspiration being taken there by Epic. The whole thing is the amount of inspiration that Epic took down to the terminology and everything, not necessarily the core concept, because games with that concept existed before Among Us. It's just they took it and they kind of morphed it into their own game style and the lore, if you will, for Among Us. And it's odd that Epic didn't necessarily reach out and say, hey, let's do a collaboration. That could be really cool. No, they said, well, let's just use that idea and bring it over here and not really change a lot of the answers when we copy the homework. Although if you think about it, Fortnite, they follow gaming trends, right? Like, this is something that blew up online with Among Us, and the same thing happened with Battle Royale, and Fortnite pivoted for that, and that's really what blew up the game of Fortnite and made it super popular, is taking a concept that was working for PUBG and kind of working it in there. So now they're kind of looking around saying, well, we can do this with Among Us, we'll bring this in, and we'll kind of work on the imposter angle where it has kind of that social construct of talking back and forth and trying to figure out who's guilty, and we just kind of get rid of them and eject them out. So I don't think anything's really going to come of this. It's just more of a shame that this big company in Epic Games decided, oh, we'll just kind of take that idea, like almost completely the same, from a smaller developer and just basically say it's our own. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about Shining Force, because we had touched on this before as it was announced for mobile phones. And I looked at that and said, oh, really? Shining Force is going to mobile phones? Maybe it'll be some funny looking gotcha game or something. Well, we have screenshots and gameplay for it, and just take a look at this here, because we have gameplay that looks really good. So much so that I'm kind of sad that this just appears to be going to mobile phones, at least for now. It looks like they're going to enter a beta phase early 2022. And this, according to Nintendo Life, a loose translation of the title is Shining Force Heroes of Light and Darkness. It's being developed by Hive, the Japanese arm of South Korean game publisher Vespa, and it's not by Sega. Nonetheless, Hive insists that the game will be based on the series' unique worldview and storyline, and will focus on the fun of cultivating unique and attractive characters with the aim of bringing the strategic fun of simulation RPG to mobile devices. And man, all of this, and like Shining Force comes back for mobile phones, and it actually looks good. I'm still hopeful that maybe there's a port out there somewhere in the distant future, and it makes its way to consoles across the board. It's like on the PlayStation and the Switch and Xbox, PC, all this. In fact, I guess if I had to take a pick, it probably would go to PC at some point, but if this is really going to lean on those gacha mechanics heavily, then it may never see a port. My other hope, though, is if it is leaning on the gacha mechanics and it proves to be very popular, that maybe we could see a Shining Force game off in the future that is just developed for systems now, like again, across the board, Switch, if anything, at least the Switch, the PlayStation, and PC, as it would be a big release in Japan. That's all I can really hope for now, because it's a shame to see this gameplay and realize that, one, it may not even release in like the West in general on phones, and two, it's not something that I would even be able to import on the Switch then. So there we have it. A new Shining Force game that actually looks pretty good. Unfortunately, it looks like it's just gonna be on mobile phones, at least for now. And before we go to the comment of the day, we're taking the poll that I posted up yesterday, where I asked, what do you think about Pokemon Arceus after seeing it today in the Pokemon Presents? 45% said looks good, I'm sold on it. 40% said looks all right, I'll wait to see what reviews say, and then 15% said looks bad, I'm going to pass on it. You know what? I do wonder if, let's say Legends Arceus comes out, it gets good reviews, it sells well, if this would be almost, I don't want to say a complete revitalization for the series, because Pokemon's always sold well, Sword and Shield sold fine, but I do feel like there are people, maybe as they got older, that kind of fell out of Pokemon because we had seen that basically every generation, it was the same core concept, right? Go to different gyms, get badges, and all of this. Arceus is a pretty big shakeup for the Pokemon series itself, and let's say it's successful going forward, maybe Pokemon does transition to this open world style gameplay and they explore other regions and they kind of build on this open world concept and gameplay. I think that's really cool to see, and I'm actually kind of hoping that is the case, because I know traditional Pokemon games, there's always going to be a place for it, but hey, if anything, maybe we could have our open world Pokemon game one year, and then our traditional Pokemon game the next, and then maybe they also lean into the Let's Go kind of series. So we would have 3 different type of Pokemon games coming out, and we'd have a new one each year. So not a bad idea though going forward. Here's hoping Legends Arceus turns out to be at least good enough to do that. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day as you're seeing here. This is from GM saying, Spawnwave players are getting teabagged. Me, oh, it's 2007 again. Spawnwave by bots. Me, this is the future. Yeah, back in the day, you would taunt people by crouching over their body over and over again, and trust me, it would get a reaction every time. You would hear about it in the post-game chat room, which would come up after the game was over, and then everyone would yell at each other for, I would say, a solid 30 seconds minimum before everyone quit out. But now we could have bots doing it. And how do you get revenge on something that can't feel? And ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button, really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about here today, whether it's the Pokemon Presents that we had yesterday and Legends Arceus. Do you think this is a good direction for the Pokemon series overall, and were you impressed by what they showed us? Let me know about that. And then also, what about Fortnite and Among Us? Do you think Fortnite went a bit too far with the amount of inspiration that they took from Among Us? Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.